my laptop screen, ready for the Python scene. All those lines of text so clean, let's code and chase that dream. Python world, here we go. Write the script, let it flow.
Welcome to Computer Science 1026, Computer Science Fundamentals 1. In this video, we'll be going over the course syllabus and what you can expect while taking this course. This video is for the online section, that's the 650 section. Note that there's quite a few in-person sections for this course, as well as our online section, but everything in this video is going to be for the 650 section. The 650 section is fully online and has no set meeting or lab times. Everything's going to be done online. Before we get started, I should introduce myself. My name is Daniel Servos. That's me on the screen right now. I've been teaching for the computer science department here at Western for a few years now, and I received my PhD in computer science from the University of Western Ontario in the area of access control. I also completed my master's in computer science and undergraduate degree at Lakehead University. If you ever need to get in contact with me during the course, please feel free to email me at dservos5@uwo.ca. Make sure to include the course code for this course, that's CS1026, and your section number, which should be 650, and the subject of any emails to avoid your email being caught in the spam filter. Also make sure to send your emails from your Western email account. I'll also be holding office hours every week. These are held both online and in person. As I have quite a few students between the courses I'm teaching this term, these have to be by appointment. So if you would ever like to meet, discuss anything related to the course, please use the link danielservos.ca/apt to make an appointment. This link's also on our OWL Brightspace page. Teaching assistants are also going to hold weekly drop-in consulting hours online, and we will post a schedule for those once they are available. You don't need an appointment for them, you just connect to their Zoom meeting during the times they're available. So what is this course all about? What have you got yourself into? Well, CS1026 is an introduction to the basic concepts of computer science programming. It's intended for students who have an interest in learning basic programming skills or studying computer science, but may not have any previous programming background. This means if you've never programmed before or know nothing about programming, that's completely fine. We'll be teaching everything from the ground up. If you do already have previous programming experience, don't worry either, as this course will be a great review and introduction to Python, in case you haven't used Python before. Speaking of Python, that is going to be the programming language we use in this course. Specifically, you're going to need Python 3.10 or newer, as well as the PyCharm Community Edition 2024 IDE. Both of these are free and available for Windows, macOS, and Linux. Note that there are two different versions of PyCharm. There's the free Community Edition and the paid-for Professional Edition. For this course, we only need the free Community Edition, so please don't buy the Professional Edition. I don't want you to waste your money. To take this course online, there are a few other technological requirements and software packages you're going to need. Firstly, as this is an online course, you will need a reliable internet connection. The speed is less important than it being stable, so you can write quizzes and the final exam. You'll also need a webcam, microphone, and the ProctorTrack software to write any tests in this course. And that ProctorTrack software is free for Western students, but the webcam and microphone is up to you. The webcam and microphone can be built into your laptop or monitor, but it must be of high enough quality so we can clearly see you while you're taking a test. ProctorTrack is software used by the university to remotely proctor exams and tests. You'll need to agree to its use to take this course online. Lastly, you'll also need a web browser to access our course site, the zyBook, and Gradescope. And if you wish to attend any office hours or TA consulting times online, you're going to need Zoom for video conferencing. You'll need to meet all of these requirements to take this course online. If you feel like you might not be able to meet one of these requirements, know that the course is also offered in person on campus. Now on to our textbook. This course has one required text, and that is Programming in Python 3 with Zylabs. This is an interactive electronic textbook that's quite good. I really like it. Each chapter has interactive elements that allows you to practice your Python coding as you're completing the readings for the week. So it's not just a boring text that you read, you actually interact with it and work on problems in the text. So how are we going to use this textbook? Well, each week, readings from the textbook will be assigned, and completing these participation activities that are embedded in these readings will be part of your online participation grade. Secondly, each week labs will be assigned from the zyLabs component that's included in your textbook. Completing these labs each week will make up your lab grade for the course, so you do need the textbook. I have another video on how to sign up for the textbook, but please remember to use your Western email address, and again at uwo.ca when you register for the zyBook, and input your section as 650 to ensure that you get credit for all the work you do in the zyBook. Other than the zyBook, there are two other course-related sites you need to know about. The first is OWL Brightspace. This is Western's new learning management system, and where you can find most of the course content, including lecture videos, slides, quizzes, weekly tasks, announcements, and the course forums. This site will be updated weekly on Monday mornings, and new videos, tasks, and things for the week will be posted. So it's really important that you check this site frequently, at least once a week, but ideally more if you're able to. Since Brightspace is new this term, I also have a video going over how to use it and how to locate everything you need. Make sure to check it out if you're not familiar with Brightspace. The last site you need to know about is Gradescope. This is only for submitting assignments. Gradescope has an autograder that will mark your assignments and give some feedback as you're working on them. Gradescope is free for Western students, and you should be able to sign up once you're fully enrolled in the course. We'll talk more about the site once we get to an assignment in the course, and we'll go over how to use it. Now on to what you have likely been waiting for, how you're going to be evaluated. This course will have an online final exam worth 30% of your final grade. It'll be closed book and 3 hours in length. This will be held during the final exam period and will use ProctorTrack and OWL Brightspace. To write the final exam, you must have completed the onboarding process at least 1 week before the final exam and have a working webcam and microphone. We'll talk more about the final exam closer to the date of the final exam. The next component are the zyBook labs. These are worth 1% each, or 10% in total. There'll be 12 labs assigned that will involve completing a set of zyLabs from your zyBook every week. The 2 lowest lab marks will be dropped, and the time you have to submit each lab is a little bit flexible. We'll talk about that in a bit. There'll also be 2 quizzes held online during the exam that are worth 8% each. These will cover any content covered in the course up to and until that point, and will also be done online using ProctorTrack and OWL. You also need to complete the ProctorTrack onboarding process before taking the quiz, and completing the onboarding quiz itself is going to be worth 1% of your grade. These quizzes will have some built-in flexibility, and we'll talk about that also. Assignments are worth 35% of your grade in total, and each have a different worth individually. Assignments will involve creating Python programs and passing automated tests on Gradescope. The last 8% of your final grade will be determined by your participation in terms of completing the participation activities in the zyBook. Each assigned chapter will have embedded participation activities, and completing these will contribute to your participation grade. Now, there are a few very important rules for how your final grade will be calculated, so please pay attention. The first is that to pass this course, that is to achieve a grade over 45%, you must satisfy the following requirements. First, you must have a weighted average of 40% on the quizzes and final exam put together. Second, you must have a 40% weighted average on the 4 assignments. And lastly, you have to submit at least 2 assignments with any grade, so long as that makes your overall assignment grade over 40%. If you fail to meet any of these requirements, your final grade will be capped at 45%, and you will fail the course. So please keep these in mind, and don't forget about doing those assignments. The second important rule deals with achieving a grade of 65% or higher. This is important for those of you in computer science program, as you need at least a 65% grade on this course to move on to the next course in the computer science program, which is CS1027. To obtain a 65% grade or higher, you must satisfy all of the following requirements. First, you must obtain a grade of 50% or higher weighted average on the quizzes in the final exam. Second, you must achieve a 50% weighted average on the assignments. And lastly, you must submit at least 3 assignments with any grade. If you fail to meet any of these requirements, your final grade will be capped at 60%, and you'll be unable to progress to take CS1027 next term. So please keep that in mind. Moving on now to assignments. Here's a breakdown of the weighting of each individual assignment and the tentative due date that we have planned. Typically, we'll try to post assignments at least 1 week before these due dates, but preferably sooner if we can. I should stress that these dates are tentative and subject to change. For the official due date, please see our OWL course site. It will be listed in the assignment details. There's also a copy of this table in your course syllabus if you need to refer back to it. So what happens if your assignment is submitted late? Well, for this course, we're going to be using a late coupon system as our late policy. This means each student starts the course with 4 late coupons that can be used to give a 24-hour grace period with no late penalty per coupon. For example, if the due date for an assignment was September 1st at 11:59 p.m., using 1 late coupon would allow you to submit by September 2nd at 11:59 p.m. with no penalty. Using 2 would allow you to submit September 3rd at 11:59 p.m., and so on. There is, however, a limit on how many you can use per assignment, and that limit is you can use at most 3 late coupons per assignment. If you submit late and have no late coupons remaining, the penalty is 0 on the assignment. This makes it important to keep track of your late coupons, so you don't accidentally submit late without any coupons. The late penalty is also 0 on the assignment if you're more than 3 days late, as submissions will be closed after 3 days. Do please note that if you use a late coupon, it's gone for good. They don't come back or replenish. This means if you use 3 on the first assignment, you only have 1 left for the remainder of the term. This makes it important to manage your late coupons carefully, as they are the primary way you will be accommodated for minor illnesses or other events that impact assignments. So how do you use a late coupon? Well, you don't have to do anything other than submit late. If you submit late, your late coupon will be automatically applied. There's no need to let us know or fill out any form or anything like that. Also, please keep in mind that this is the primary way we are providing flexibility for assignments. Once all your late coupons are gone, no more extensions will be given. Once you use all your late coupons, your only option would be to submit medical documentation to academic advising, and if that request is approved, the weight of the assignment will be placed on the final exam. You don't get to submit it later. Note that you must use up all of your late coupons before we will consider any consideration requests from academic advising, and any consideration requests put in with academic advising have to be made within 48 hours of the original deadline. That's the day that the assignment's due, and not the date that you could push it back to with the grace period. Okay, so once you get your assignment back, you may have questions or concerns with how it was marked. In such a case, the correct course of action is to submit a regrade request via GradeScope. Regrade requests will be open for 1 week after an assignment is returned to you. We'll not accept regrade requests for assignments made in any other way, through email, or after that week, so please make sure that you submit them through GradeScope. If you submit a regrade request, the teaching assistant who marked the assignment will review it and make adjustments if necessary. If you disagree with the TA's determination, you may then bring it to the attention of the course instructor. Lastly, keep in mind that we won't consider regrade requests for automated tests. So your Python programs must work correctly on GradeScope and not just your local computer. If you see a test is failing on GradeScope, you need to work to correct your program and ensure that it passes before the deadline. You may resubmit any number of times to GradeScope before that deadline, but keep in mind any resubmissions after the deadline will be counted as late based on the most recent submission date. Okay, onwards to labs. As we already mentioned, each week has a set of zyLabs that are going to be assigned from your textbook. These labs are worth 1% of your grade for a total of 10%, and the 2 lowest sets of labs will be dropped. The official deadline to complete the assigned labs for a week is Friday, the week they were offered. So that'd be Friday at 11:59 p.m. in the week the labs were assigned. However, since this is an online course, and some of you may be working at your own pace, the labs will be accepted until the end of the course, that's December 6th at 11:59 p.m., without penalty. We still expect you to do them during the week they're assigned, and you might need that knowledge from labs to complete assignments or to answer questions on quizzes, so please don't put them off. Labs are going to be marked as pass or fail. On the zyBook textbook, you will see grade points assigned to them, but as long as you're getting at least 70% of the available grades on a specific lab, then you do pass that lab. Keep in mind that a lab is made up of multiple different labs in the zyBook. So for example, in week 1, you might be assigned labs 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So to pass that lab collectively, you need 70% of the grades available. And then calculating your final grade, it's only being calculated as pass or fail. If you pass, you get the 1% for that lab, regardless of what score it shows on zyBook. If you have less than 70% of the marks on zyBook, then you fail and get nothing for that lab. Your participation mark will work similarly to your lab mark. Each week, one or more chapters will be assigned from the zyBook, and you must complete the participation activities embedded in that chapter to earn your participation grade. These activities are marked with the participation activity label, as shown right here on the screen. Just like with labs, the due date is the end of the week they're assigned, officially. So that would be Friday at 11:59 p.m. on the week that chapter's assigned. However, just like with labs, we will accept them with no penalty if they're completed by the end of the course, December 6th at 11:59 p.m. Unlike labs, participation activities don't have a point value or a grade assigned. Your zyBook will only mark them as completed or incomplete. To earn the participation grade for a given chapter, you must have at least 80% of the participation activities in a chapter marked as completed according to zyBook. So how am I going to calculate your final participation grade? So it's not going to be as straightforward as simply dividing the number of chapters by the number you got 80% on. We're going to use this formula here. So this might look a bit complicated, but as long as you complete all the participation activities, you'll obtain the full participation grade. This just sort of curves it a little bit. You can also find this formula in the course syllabus, but again, if you just complete all the participation activities, you'll get the full participation grade. As I mentioned before, there will be 2 regular quizzes held during the term. The tentative dates are October 10th and November 7th. Before you can write these quizzes, you must complete the ProctorTrack onboarding process. I have a separate video posted now on how to do this, and it only takes about an hour or so, and that's an exaggeration. If for some reason you can't take a quiz or you miss one, the weight will be placed on your final exam. No consideration request or documentation is needed for this. Simply don't write the quiz, and the weight will be moved automatically. However, once you do start your quiz, you are locked in, and your grade on that quiz will count. So don't start a quiz if you don't want it to count. So on a quiz day, the quiz will be open on Owl Brightspace for the whole day, but you do have to write it sometime in that day and using ProctorTrack. And when you use ProctorTrack, there are some very important rules about using it, so please check out the course syllabus and make sure you read them all fully and you follow any rules during the quiz. Failing to do so could lead to a 0 on the quiz or a mark penalty. These are things you'll see in the ProctorTrack video, like making sure you complete your room scan, making sure you scan your ID properly, and other things like that. The last thing we're going to talk about are scholastic offenses and academic dishonesty. Hopefully this won't come up in the course, but please note that we have a few rules, and violating them will lead to a 0 grade on that course element and referral to the department's integrity committee, who may apply stricter penalties. The first rule is that all assignments, quizzes, and the exam are individual work. You may not work with another person on these, and they can't provide you any help. Even if that person is a tutor in the course, not in the course, all of this has to be individual work. You may also not use any code from online sources or past terms, and we are going to be running everything through plagiarism detection software and code similarity analysis on all submissions. Rule 2, you may not use generative AI or any kind of tool to generate code for your tests, quizzes, or assignments. So you might be tempted to use ChatGPT on your assignment. Please don't. All code has to be written by you and not an AI or another person. I'll also warn that ChatGPT and other tools do tend to solve the problem in a similar way, and this leads to students getting flagged for plagiarism because they both use ChatGPT. It's easy to detect with the plagiarism detection software, so please don't use it. Rule 3. If you're taking this course again, or if you've taken a similar course in the past, you may not resubmit or reuse any past work for assignments without written permission from the course instructor. Using your own work from a past term is self-plagiarism, so please don't do that. Rule 4. You may not publish any assignment code publicly until at least 1 month after the course is over. So if you use something like OneDrive, GitHub, or another system to store your work on an assignment, please make sure that it's set to private and only you can see that work. Rule 5. You may not use another student's account for any reason or allow anyone to use yours. This includes your Western account, zyBook account, or Gradescope account. You are responsible for ensuring that you are using the correct account and logged out when using a public or shared computer. And lastly, you have to follow all rules on quizzes and the final exam. Okay, so now that we're done the intro video, what's next? Well, since this is the first week of the course, there are a few tasks we need to do to get started. First, you should read the course syllabus. I can't stress how important this is. This course does have a few complicated rules, so please make sure you read the syllabus, and if you have any questions about anything in there, please post on the course forums, and I'll be able to answer you. Most questions you're going to have about the course are going to be answered in there. Second, complete all of the assigned readings, videos, and tasks for the week. You can find these posted on our OWL site under Week 0 unit on the overview page. Each week of the course will have a new unit like this with an overview page, and that's going to be posted on Monday of each week. And it's critical that you read these overview pages because they lay out everything you need to do that week. Next, watch the video on installing the required software and follow along. Once you've done that, you can try out the zyLab for the week. Remember, you only need a score of 75% overall on your zyLabs to get credit for the week. And the last thing you need to do is to complete the Proctor Track onboarding process as soon as possible. And part of that is going to be completing our orientation quiz. That's part of this process. You're going to have to be onboarded to write the quizzes in the final exam, and it's good to get that out of the way right now in case there's any issues with your computer or your camera or your microphone, so you can fix them well in advance of the quizzes. Some future parts of this course will be locked until you complete this, such as the quizzes and assignments, so please get this out of the way right away and complete that onboarding process. I highly recommend completing it as soon as possible. That's all I have for you in this lecture. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.